February the 15th, 2022. And hope you all had a wonderful Valentine's Day yesterday. And we have all our council present, and we welcome our staff and our directors who have joined us here this evening. And so we'll go right out and start with our first item from our financial report from Director Roy. Are you ready?
We're required by the State Auditor's Office as part of our reporting compliance with our audit every year to present quarterly reports. And I've been presenting more of like what we do for the budget the last 6 months of the fiscal year. And so been working on this, and so I'm just going to read a couple of things. I'm not going to go over every one of them, and you can look and just kind of talk about the big items and why it's important. So the purpose of this report is to just provide summary information about the revenue and expenses of the city. And so like I said, it'll be a quarterly report. This is from July through September of 2021, which is actually the first quarter of the fiscal year 2022. And so it's just going to show you year-to-date revenues and expenses compared to budget from the adopted budget. And it's going to be accurate and up-to-date information available at the time of the publication. And so what happens, until our financials are audited, these are considered unaudited statements. So like, you know, I may find something when I'm doing bank reconciliation or when I'm doing fixed asset entries when the audit's here, so it may change things. And so these are just a snapshot in time. So that's a big thing. So every fund that currently has revenue and expenses going out of it is going to be there. I think there's 29 pages. And the one we talk about the most is the general fund, but you'll see basically an income statement for every fund that we have revenue and expenses coming in and out of the city right now. And so originally I think in one of the emails that went out, I said that you would receive it 45 days after the close of the quarter. I actually want to do 75 days because I don't know if some of you are aware of our sales tax, our property tax, most of our franchise fees, lodging taxes, care tax, those are 60 days behind. So like right now, I don't even have December sales tax or property tax, those type of things. So if we did it for 75 days, we usually get those, and that would give us 2 weeks to get all the entries in and get the reconciliation done, so that it would be the most accurate. So that's just what I'm proposing. Because our biggest property and sales tax are our biggest revenues, at least in the general fund. All the other stuff posts weekly or monthly or whatever. So yeah, this will be what you'll be seeing every quarter, and hopefully it'll be helpful. And like I said, this will put us in 100% compliance with our independent auditors in the State Auditor's Office. It's nothing that we have to post out on the transparency website or anything like that. It's just that it's for internal information to be presented to the mayor and council. So I guess I could put a picture on it. It may make it more exciting. It looks kind of like a boring accounting comparative. So hopefully it'll be good information. And if you have any questions as you're looking through it, and I tried to
So it's in the packet, right? You didn't get a hard copy?
No, I gave them, I'm in the packet. And then if you have any questions, I have all the funds listed, but if you have any questions about, no, let's just say, like, I don't know what's, like cultural arts, if you'd like, I could put some narrative next to each one of these and probably give you a better feel for what each one of those funds does and what revenues and expenses are coming out of that.
Yeah,
So, would you like that? Yeah, I can do that, and I'll just update it out in the packet. I think that'd be helpful to kind of get a feel why we have so many funds. So.
And I just have a question. So you
Get your mic a little bit, sorry.
So you get the sales tax revenue number from the state, annually, or you
It's-
get it more, like, you get it quarterly?
So I get a monthly, no, I get sales and property tax monthly.
Okay,
But
I didn't
it's
know that.
60 days old. Does that
Got
make
it.
sense? So when I
Yes.
get February's here in about a week, that's actually for December.
Okay,
Yeah, it's December sales. And so, yeah, I get stuff monthly, but it's always needs to be taken back 2 months. And so we make entries to post it in the month that it actually happened. In this case, we'll be doing December's when February comes. Yeah, and that's sales tax. So even though I get an allocation every month, it's always for, it's 60 days prior to the, when it was collected. So property tax, sales tax, the highway option tax is one, so almost all of them are 60 days.
okay.
So, yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah. They've gotten a little bit better. It used, yeah, it's always been that way. I'd say the state tax commission's getting a little bit better because I wouldn't get it sometimes till March. Now they're pretty good. Like, I'll probably get it next Monday or Tuesday. So they're getting quicker as things, but it's still for the prior 2 months, so. So hopefully that's helpful, and like I said, I'll prepare that narrative for each one of the funds, and hopefully that'll help you, and we'll look it over. It's really exciting, and then if you have any questions, just let me know, and so.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Denise.
thank you. Okay, now move our discussion on TSSD composting.
Thank you, Mayor. We talked about this a few months back, and we're back to having another discussion about moving forward on how we want to proceed. Just some brief history. Years ago, the local sewer district would compost the human waste with green waste and sell it, distribute it out. That's what they were doing to take care of the human waste side of what they had. They were doing that all outdoor, and so we were having issues with some of the odors that were coming mainly into our community, a little bit into American Fork. They have a business park that's to the north of TSSD. They were having issues as well. We tried to work with the board to get some resolution. We were never able to get resolution, so we ended up suing TSSD regarding the odor. We were went probably about 2 years, I think, through the lawsuit. We were getting ready to go to trial, and then we had a settlement agreement between the city, Mark Robinson, so he owns the business park to the north. He was kind of our partner in this situation. So Mark, the city, and TSSD came to an agreement, and the agreement is that they would not do, well, we gave them 5 years to ramp down their composting operation to a point of where after 5 years they would not be composting on site. In the recent, the last year or so, TSSD would like to consider building an indoor composting facility that would have complete with air scrubbers and the green waste. Everything would be indoors so as to contain any potential odors. In order for them to do that, they would need our permission. We'd have to amend the agreement to allow that to happen. They invited the mayor and I to visit an indoor composting facility that was in Washington State. We went, I think it was September or October last year, to visit that facility. The operation, in my opinion, and Mayor, you can share your opinion, seemed like it was fine, that it worked, but it was on a really small scale. It was probably 1/100th of what the volume that TSSD would be doing. So we brought the information back. I believe we talked about it briefly in a work session and kind of left it there. So TSSD, Rich Mickelson, who is their executive director there, contacted me the other day and said, hey, we are putting together our long-term plan. We are putting together our bonding packages in order to make improvements for growth and just other improvements that they need to make, and they want the indoor composting to be a part of that sooner rather than later. If they're going to do it, they want to do it soon, not wait 10 years. They want to get after it. So with that, kicked it back to us, to me, to say, hey, will you talk to your city council, see what they think? And so I listed 3 options, I think, that we have. One could be we amend the agreement and allow them to do it. 2 would be telling them we're not interested in amending the agreement, and so they would not be able to do it. 3 would be if we wanted to do more research as a city council, if there are particular council members that would want to see how this facility works, that we could take a field trip and go visit a facility. Now, and I told Rich, the facility that the mayor and I saw is too small for us to really get a comfort level with this. And I asked, is there something more on the level of TSSD? They do have larger indoor composting facilities. The reason we couldn't go see, I think he said it was Wisconsin or Michigan, has probably the most comparable. And because of COVID, they were not allowing anybody on site. So he said that they could arrange that if there are council members that would like to visit that facility to make sure that there's a comfort level on our end, what indoor composting looks like. And Rich has also offered to come and visit, come to a work session, answer questions, show us their long-term plan and the things that they have been working on, again, so that there is a comfort level for us. So with those 3 options, if you would like to give me some feedback, I can get back with Rich and we can take the next steps.
Scott, where's American Fork? American Fork went with us, and also Mark Robinson went with us up there.
Yeah, thank you.
And he was impressed with and he was all right with on that
Yeah, so
small
Mark
scale.
Robinson, who was our partner, so we spent $300,000 on this lawsuit. Mark paid half of it, and we paid half of that. That to me, and I didn't list this, but if we do work something out with them, they need to reimburse us that cost. We've already talked to TSSD about that. American Fork is one that has kind of, I don't know if I want to say pushing the issue, but they are ones saying, hey, we would like to see this happen. We think this makes sense for the long-term needs. Because if we don't, if they are required to compost on site, or if they're required to not compost on site, then they have to take what we call the human sludge. And right now, they're hauling it to TSSD or to Bayview. They're hauling it to the landfill. There's concern that eventually the landfills could say, we're not taking this anymore. It's taking too much room or whatever. They're concerned about that. Or there could be some environmental concerns that, trucking that stuff could cause some concerns. Those are things that they've mentioned to us that is on their radar. But thank you. So yeah, Mark was with us and American Fork was with us. And I think some of you have received emails. We have had a few of our residents say, hey, how come I can't take green waste to TSSD anymore? In the past, they could take it there for free and drop it off. Now they can't. If they do have green waste, they need to take it to North Point, which charges $12 a load or whatever. So,
my feeling is we've been on a road show. You and the mayor have gone up and and seen the experts. I'm sure not an expert on this. I don't think it would help if I went up somewhere to see a facility. If we believe in good faith that they've corrected the issue in an indoor facility, let's amend the agreement and let them move forward.
okay. Other thoughts?
So, yeah, I mean, Sid's been here the longest, but so this was a big issue, right?
It's a huge issue.
And it's probably some of the same residents that didn't want it now probably want it back, right? Which is the problem. I'm 50-50 on this, right? Because we spent a lot of time, effort, and money on this because let's say we do grant it and there's still, comes back and there's some issues, right?
Yeah.
And then it's shame on us, right? Because we went through all this. So even though I'm not an expert, I'd like to have at least a few council members go out. At least that way we could say, we went out and checked it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we saw that it works on a small scale,
yeah.
and it was surprising.
And they've told us that it works on a large scale.
Well,
same type
there's
of
some of these
facility.
other places are on a bigger scale, and that's what they're planning.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying. My comfort level would probably be a little more if I could see it in a larger.
Yeah,
What we saw, I thought was like, man, I mean, they would say, this has been mixed for 4 days, and they had they lift it up and have you take a smell, and this is the stuff that's been mixed for 14, and this is the stuff that's been mixed for 28. Because it just kind of, goes through this progression. And by the time it gets to 28, it's compost. I mean,
So the facilities, the other facilities you'd be going out to, they're going to run a similar operation and a similar facility? Because right now it doesn't sound like we're comparing apples to oranges.
yeah, that's correct.
So the facilities that they're suggesting, they're going to run a similar operation and it's going to be a very similar facility?
So that's what Rich is telling me. And we just, I mean, if we're going to take a field trip, we'll make sure that we have a complete understanding as to what we're going to see. Because I've told them, the concern was the small scale. And I said, are there other facilities out there that, now TSSD is a district. Some of these are just, the one we saw was just for this town. I mean, they had their own sewer treatment facility.
Yeah, we have, how many cities flushing poop
Yeah,
there?
so we have, I don't know,
13, I think.
200, 300,000 people
Yeah, that's a
in the
lot.
district, yeah, which was way different than what we saw. So if there is an interest for us to take the field trip, I'll start working with Rich and making sure that we can see the largest facility in this country that is doing this type of indoor composting. Because, I mean, to be on site and actually, sniff and smell and try to
Walk the neighborhood.
ascertain and see what businesses are nearby, if there are any, and
But even though it's a larger facility, are they going to be doing this, are they building the same facility? Because it could be in similar size, but they could be doing a completely
no,
different operation.
it would be the same technology. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, but is it gonna be like the same building, the same process? Like, everything would have to match up to get to be a real true comparison.
Yeah, I think
And-
that's their
And
intent.
based on the past history, I mean, I'm gonna compare it to, next, the PSB was a very traumatic event
Yeah, it
for me as a
was,
council
yep.
member for years. That wasn't fun.
Yeah,
It wasn't fun hearing complaints from, residents in the area, the businesses losing out on business. I mean, that was a very long process, and I don't want to reverse that in a couple of meetings. Like, that was bad.
yeah. No, for those that were on boots on the ground at the time, there is probably a little PTSD that is associated with that. But I think if we were to do the field trip, those are the questions we can ask is, okay, TSSD, is this exactly what you're planning on doing? Is it the same process? Is it the same technology? Because if what we're visiting is what we want to see you guys build if we decide to allow you to do that. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't want to go see a large facility. I want to make sure it's the same entire operation, because otherwise it's not a good comparison.
Yeah,
To me, the residents who want to go, get green waste or take whatever, that is minor to me compared
Yeah.
to the damage they did in the Grove.
yeah,
And we have some pretty big businesses coming in,
yeah,
and if we were to approve that and the smell started,
yeah,
that would be devastating.
it would be.
All it takes is one or two.
No, you're
And-
right, and that's
And-
the
And
biggest
that's
concern.
where I'm at.
That's the biggest
That
concern.
last two sentences. So we were at the BMW, we could smell, we were petitioned to fix the problem. At that point, the Grove was empty.
Yeah, there wasn't much out there.
There was BMW and the Horrocks building. So at that point, and I have, as recently as 2 months ago, signed my name to a letter to a potential customer out in the Grove that just said, no, the smell is not there. And so I am okay with technology coming in that is gonna, I'm okay with a win-win, but I have to be able to put my name on
Yeah,
no smell.
I mean, I'm open to a field trip.
yeah,
Sure, if we want to do the research, but that doesn't mean necessarily at this point. I mean, right now, I'm a no.
yeah,
I'm a no.
yeah,
It's not worth it to me. I'm sorry they can't compost. I know people want, I get it.
yeah.
I would be devastated if
Yeah.
a business came in.
We
and-
fought a huge battle to take that ground.
I mean, there's like restaurants down there now, like that's gross if you're eating down there and you're
Yeah.
smelling things and you're at a restaurant,
Yeah.
it's just gross.
But if they've eliminated the smell,
then they can do that. We just gotta see what a big facility is, because, hey, we witnessed it. And really, and why they're, okay, why they don't haul it all out to Bayview or whatever, because Bayview here, in 5, 10 years, they may say, hey, we're not taking it anymore. You gotta take care of it yourself.
that's right, that's a big
And then
problem.
they're back to, and you just don't shut down a poop plant.
Nope.
So, and that's not necessarily our issue, that's the district's
That's
issue.
theirs, that's
And if
true,
there's
but that's why
additional
they're
costs,
looking at
that cost will be spread out
Yeah.
amongst everybody. But if,
Bring it on.
I think it would behoove us to take a field trip and see this in action. And by the time we're done with the field trip, I think we'll either feel comfortable or not feel comfortable. And I think we'll be in a position to just tell TSSD, this is where we're at. So I'll talk with Rich,
'Kay.
and we'll figure out the facility. And then I'll just contact you, find out who wants to go. I mean, we're asking TSSD to pay for it, you know, out of their pocket for us to do this. And we'll make those arrangements and go see where we need to see, if that's where the council's at.
Did they say why that they took you to a plant that was,
Yeah, the other
So
one had,
small?
because of COVID restrictions, we couldn't go.
Because it was in states that wouldn't allow it.
Yes,
Yeah, they were shut
Yeah.
down. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
well, it was clear back in,
it was.
July.
Did we go in July?
it was after Strawberry Days, first part of July, after, it was in July.
Is that when it was?
Time goes on, Scott,
Yeah, it must do,
so,
yeah. And
'Cause-
at that time,
Like down here?
the COVID was kind of ramping back up in the,
I kind of
Community.
benchmarked that because I spent a little time in the hospital after I went to Portland.
oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
so I kind of.
Okay, so,
But also that AF's got a big, you know, if you look what's happened over in AF, before they was pretty vacant down there, and it is really built up down there with their
yeah,
businesses.
yeah, they have a lot going on out there,
Even more than us,
yeah.
that it's closer.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly confident in the process. I mean,
Scott, is this something that we can talk to a city manager, even the mayor of a town that has one of these facilities in it, and get an independent view of
Yeah.
what their thoughts are,
yeah,
rather than wasting a lot of time and money? And is there an independent research group, an independent group that can certify, hey, this has been going for 5 years and this is going great?
yeah, I can find
In a
out.
business district.
Well, no, I don't even
so-
care if it's in a business unit. No,
because
it's
I don't
just,
want it out in the middle of desert and no one smells it, that is, you know, I
well, no,
want it
if it
similar
smells,
to
it
our setup.
smells. Whether if it smells, it smells. It doesn't matter if it smells in a
Well,
business district or in a,
Here's my experience dealing with this earlier, was everybody had a little different tolerance for the smell. And that's why I think it would be important for us to actually physically be there.
Yeah.
Because for somebody to say, I'm not smelling it, or somebody to say, I am smelling it, we went the rounds with TSSD when we were doing this as to what odor is and how bad is it, and is it not too bad, you know? And everybody had a different opinion, because we said, is there a standard? Is there a metric that can say this is what odor is and what it's not? It was a huge challenge, and I mean, we had experts lined up saying, well, yeah, it is measurable, and here's what it is, but.
I mean, I agree with Todd. I would like, I mean, the field trip's great for that reason, because it is definitely a physical, you know,
Yeah,
thing
And
going
then
on.
and then we can just know.
Yeah, then we can know, but I also, and I don't want them to do the research, I want us to do
us,
the research.
absolutely, yeah.
That we find out from other, if there's anyone in Utah, you know,
There's not one in Utah.
there's not a
There
plant
no.
like this in Utah.
I don't think there's anybody else that indoor composts.
Okay, closest
Yeah,
by
yeah.
mayor, city council, local businesses, and I want us to do the research.
Yeah, no, if they say it's in this town, yeah, I can call their,
And I
City
feel too,
manager
we're
or
not in a
whatever.
rush. We're
Yeah.
not in a rush, so if it takes a few months to do the research or 6 months, I'm fine with that.
yeah,
We went through a very long process.
yeah, we did.
Let's just, we're not in a rush, and I don't want to be rushed by TSSD to make a decision. I want to do our due diligence in finding out if this is the right
Yeah.
path we should take.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment.
You know, if there's any the composting places, or probably what they ended up with, where we're at. That's probably doing the covered and in Sterling at night and whatever, in the other place in Utah. So that's probably what was,
Yeah,
and
I
that was
mean,
working out
it's
okay
just I'll
for
bring
us.
it back, because there are other
Yeah,
sewer treatment plants, and, you know,
and they have the same
well,
thing.
a lot of them, they handle the waste a little differently. There's different classifications of the waste. And so TSSD has a certain process, which is different than Provo and different than Orem. They have different processes.
Well, and that's
And-
why when we're doing the research, it needs to be a fair comparison of
No,
how they're processing
I
and
understand
everything.
that all the way, yes, because I agree. It's got to be, how we're classifying it, TSSD needs to be the same as how these other guys are doing it. It does need to be apples to apples. Yeah, the concern earlier was the scale was really the issue, so. I
Okay.
think I have an understanding where
Yeah,
we're at.
thanks,
so
Scott.
We'll proceed in
We'll
that
move
manner.
on here. Need, and now move to our next item on our, of a renewing or signing a 3-year contract on our software. You still got the floor. Don't sit
Sorry.
down.
I forgot about this one. This one's by way of information, so we use Microsoft 365. We signed up with them a year and a half or so ago, about the time that COVID was rolling in. We are on a month-to-month contract. Their prices are going up. If we sign a 3-year contract, then we can keep the price within what we currently budget. So that is what staff is proceeding to do, but because we would be signing a 3-year contract, we just wanted to let you know that
software again?
Microsoft 365.
Oh, okay.
So all the Office suite, Microsoft Office suite, which we all use. Used to be you just buy a license for a computer. It doesn't work that way anymore. So anyway, we just wanted to let you know that's where, is it?
I think you should give them the number, you know, it's not an increase in the budget, but the contract will be for what, 80-some thousand?
Yeah, so
Go
the
ahead.
3-year contracts for $86,000, based on what the current pricing is, if we don't sign an agreement prior to March 1st, we'll have a 15% increase on that. And if we want to stay month to month, there's an additional 20% increase on the 15%. And so our hope is to lock in the current pricing for 3 years to save ourselves a few $1,000s.
What exactly do they do?
This is Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel,
This is the cloud.
email. This is,
Outlook.
It's Office
so you used to
365.
purchase it, it was $300 for the computer. Now it's a subscription service is what they've moved to. And so,
So Kyler, have we looked at, or had our consulting, or IT consultant look at other options?
yeah, I
Google
mean, so
Cloud.
we've talked about Google. There's
Right.
pricing with that as well when you go to a commercial.
There is.
And then the other challenge is just educating your employees when you make that transition. I know some cities have gone and there's mixed reviews on switching away from
Yeah,
what
so I
people
use
are used
both,
to.
and I've used both, you know, for a long time, actually. I would just be interested to see what the cost difference would be, Google versus
Sure.
Office.
Sure.
And is there any benefit from a Denise standpoint or even a Tina standpoint to staying on Microsoft? Because
I think most-
other than that, you know, I'm sure we have a lot of licenses for a lot of people that aren't using the full Office suite, and something like Google may be a better, cheaper solution.
And that's one of the things we're doing prior. The reason why we don't have a price here today is because we're trying to cut as many licenses as possible of people who aren't using the full suite, who
Right.
are just using email.
I would think Jeremy, the IT, should have a grasp of what the Google Suite would cost. I would,
Yeah, we can ask, I mean, we can
Yeah.
look at it. I mean, part of, as we've been looking, the Microsoft, what we use, we understand that, we're comfortable with that. We've talked with other cities that have gone to G Suite, and again, mixed reviews. Some said it's great, others are like it was been a disaster for them. So,
I will
for
say-
us,
I'll say this, we went, when I was at Cottonwood, we went to Google, right? And then we quickly switched over to Microsoft. It just didn't fit. It wasn't good, so.
And so I Googled it, and it looks like their business premium, which is the one that is the one that we would be on, is $18 a month, and and Microsoft's $20 a month. So you're looking at $2 a month for 120 people is what we have on it right now.
Maybe I'd have Jeremy just give us a bid.
Yeah,
It's a great business model.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I use both. I use both right now. I mean, in a couple of different things, and for 100 employees, G Suite may be a viable solution for us. But I'm not opposed to.
well, we'll take we'll take a look at the price and see if it's negligible, we'll stay with Microsoft 365. If there's some pretty good savings, then we can make that switch, but, anyway, with Microsoft, we have to have a decision here in 2 weeks, in order to catch the price break, so. So we'll proceed.
Okay.
And we'll take a look at the G Suite and then make a decision, so, thank you.
Okay. With that, we finished our business, and we'll now move to our reports from our director, and let's go from, we always, Sherry thinks we're always beating up on her, but we'll start with Marty up the front here and go to the back, Sherry.
Usually have some time at this point to think about things to report on, but
Well, and that means it'll be shorter.
yes, perfect. Win-win. So we did, I did have some good conversations with the county on First East, and they are planning to get the bid out this week. It'll be out in the next week. We coordinated on some timing, and they've put some wording in their contracts that the contractor will need to be finished with the Pleasant Grove portion. I think there's three projects that they're bidding out as one, of which Pleasant Grove's First East is one of those projects, and the timing to be completed is before Strawberry Days, or May 27th is what I believe we discussed as far as the final date of completion of that. So that's currently where we're at. The plan is to hopefully have it done by the end of May, so before Strawberry Days. So I thought that was at least positive, moving in the right direction. Bids, again, the plans are all ready to go. We've negotiated all the final things that need to be completed with the project. So other than that, things are moving forward. Lots of discussions. Projects are still moving. The Boulevard well should be starting to drill here, and they're trying to figure out how to get the drill rig on the site and situated across the road and all that stuff. So the well should be starting to be drilled here in the next couple weeks, and lots of projects moving forward. So any questions for me or?
Anything for Marty?
Marty, how many more meetings you have?
So my last day is 2 weeks from today.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
The official last day.
official last day, but I'll be helping out a little bit, I think, after that, but that's when I'll be my last day at the work. So
Okay, thanks, Marty.
thank you.
Dion?
So I've had a couple of these on my list. I wasn't here last council meeting, but we received a $7,000 grant from the Eldred Sunset Manor Foundation for the seniors. And then Hardy Jacobs stopped in last week, and the KL Jacobs Foundation donated $10,000 to the senior center. So we're going to use that to upgrade, or not upgrade, to address some of the settling issues around the front of the building. And talked with Hardy about it. He felt pretty good with that. So, and then be 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess, probably 3 weeks ago, we finished up taking down the Christmas lights. So they are stored and put away for the next 6 months, and then we'll work on them again. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dion.
And that was pretty good. We usually only get 5,000 from the Jacob Foundation, and we got 10 this year, so good for Harley. So anyway, anyway, okay. Our fire chief, you.
Well, no, lots going, same, kind of just busy, keep going. Our engine, found out, should be delivered hopefully this next month, the 15th roughly. So once we get that in, may spend a couple days in Salt Lake getting a few things put on it. Then we'll have a little ceremony, I think, to bring in the station. They do a little thing, wash the wheels and stuff, so we'll figure that out, and that's the next. Yeah, and that was brought up at one point, but we don't want to scratch it right off the
Right.
bat, so we'll figure
But-
something else.
You put an axe through the windshield.
Yeah, that goes over. That'd be real nice too. So we'll figure something out. We'll have some fun doing that. Everything's going good. A couple of calls we went on this last week, I'll tell you. One, I know Dion was on because we were just talking about, but we had a gentleman downstairs in the basement who was extremely heavy, and it took us like 8 guys to get him out of his basement. It was quite a feat to get him up and out. He was too weak to get up, and he's probably 550, 600 pounds, something like that. And so it took every bit of manpower we had to get him up and out of there. And we had to do a little system, grab webbing, tie in the backboard, tie him down, get him out. We got him out, but it was quite a feat.
Moving him to a facility or just?
No, it just took him, he went on to go to the hospital.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Oh,
it
good
was,
work.
yeah. I mean, he was doing to go, he was conscious the whole time good, but it was just kind of not a good place to get weak and not be able to get down there. One other call we went on, I thought it was kind of a neat little call. They got a call on just a basement apartment over here. Ended up being a younger Afghan family that just barely moved in. They've only been in the United States for probably 4 months, it sounds like. Zero English. They didn't know anything. They didn't have anything in their apartment. They were pretty much nothing there. It wasn't a serious medical issue, but they took the wife in. They ended up getting in the hospital, still couldn't find a translator to figure out really what was going on. So one of the guys that was on the crew had spent time in Afghanistan, called a buddy of his that was in Afghanistan. So they called Afghanistan at the hospital to get a translator to figure out what was going on and try to help him out. They got that figured out. In the process of, through this whole thing, the crew realized that this family didn't really have anything, so they went out and spent $100 on their own money and got them a bunch of groceries, and then they gave him $100 of cash just to get him by for a little while. But this gentleman that moved here, he is, I don't know how they say it, but he had the rights to carry weapons around, American soldier, so he was kind of one of the good guys, I guess, if that's what you want to say, but he had that clearance to where he carried that stuff around, the American soldier, stuff like that, so he was kind of a high clearance guy, but yeah, the crew just thought it was kind of a fun experience, kind of a cool little thing they did, so I thought I'd just pass it on to you guys. It was C shift. It was Kyle's crew. Kyle Hardy, Captain Hardy. I know, yeah, exactly. And it was lucky because Nish, Nish is his lieutenant, and Nish spent some time there, so that's how they ended up getting that information, getting him help with that.
That's
So,
awesome that they
but it was kind of a fun little story, so I thought I'd just kind of pass it on to you guys.
That's great.
Did they have
But-
kids do they need help with other things?
They said that, they absolutely zero English, so they did what they could, and I'm sure they're working with somebody, but it was they did at that time. They just said it's kind of a cool experience getting out and doing that for that
That's awesome.
family. So it was kind of fun
That's
for them.
brilliant. Thanks for sharing that.
But and that everything's going great. So any questions? Thanks.
Thank you. Rec Center, Director Wilkins. Now, I swear, the rec center is the busiest place in Pleasant Grove.
Yes, the people are hanging on to their goals. It's a good thing, their New Year's goals. So we're just, as far as basketball, that's one of our busiest every night, especially right now because it's tournament time. And we're just trying to get all the tournaments done. So we're wrapping up basketball season every night. And then just getting turnarounds for all of our spring sports and spring activities. Amber just did an awesome, like a daddy-daughter date for Valentine's, and then she also did some Valentine's cooking, and so those little programs that just make a difference, and not a lot of people, but to the people that attend them, it's really a great opportunity. So spent the morning interviewing for the assistant director position. Got some really good applicants, qualified.
How many applicants applied?
Total applicants is 40-ish,
Wow.
somewhere around
And
there.
how many did you interview?
Today we got 8 to 10. I can't.
Sounds
Not
like
9. Yeah,
a good pool.
yeah. So
Oh, that's awesome.
we plan probably to do a second round of interviews from that, and then
Okay.
someone. So that's all I
Yeah,
got.
thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Roberts.
I don't have a lot for you. People in Pleasant Grove have been minding their P's and Q's lately, so. We had 5 vehicles stolen last week, which is kind of odd.
And then he
so
starts in.
Don't,
They, as long as they
don't,
can steal their
don't leave your
neighbor's.
cars running
Do you think
unattended.
it's like the same group doing it?
No, they were spread out all through
Really?
the city, so, yeah. But it's been a countywide problem. We've had a lot of cars stolen in Utah County lately, and they're just not showing up anywhere, so,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So
And it's-
basically warm-ups? is that
It
what-
hasn't been cold enough really to even warm your car up, in my opinion, but they're leaving them unattended warm, or running, so.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Is this kids? Is this,
We don't know. We're not finding many of them so far, so.
They're
Due
in
to-
California by dawn.
Yeah.
They're not coming back.
Due to some new legislation as far as mandating our training, we've had to change some of our training. So we hosted autism awareness here in this room this morning for our department and for Linden PD. And we are also hosting a de-escalation training next Tuesday for our department and Linden PD as well next week. So we're trying to stay on top of that as far as what the state's requiring for our PD to train. And
Is there somebody that you bring in for
yeah,
that?
yeah, just specialized people.
Okay.
Yeah. And on the last note, on last Friday, I received a letter from David Levitt, the county attorney, who cleared Detective Peterson and the deputy who were involved in the shooting in Provo. So they're 100% cleared and back to duty, and everything's good. So
Oh, good. That's great
good,
news.
Yeah.
great news.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
thank you.
Daniel.
Hey, boss. We had the chance to follow up with the code enforcement and have a meeting with our city attorney to see how we're gonna proceed now with our cases that I will say 95% of our cases are solved pretty quickly, but there's some of them that keep dragging. So we had a meeting and we have a plan how to tackle those. So we met with our city attorney and how we're gonna bring those to our court system, and hopefully we'll get them solved. That one, and is it okay if I go over a little bit to items that may come to the next?
Well, let's go through the rest of the reports and
Report? Okay.
if we have time,
I just, because, okay. And that's what I have, unless you guys have specific questions. That's what I have for today.
Hey, Daniel, do you know anything about the Thai Express that's been down there by Smith's?
Yes.
What's the status on
So
that? I have
the
people
Thai,
ask me.
the Thai Express, they submitted for a TI improvement, and the permit's been ready, and
Just haven't moved forward?
yeah.
You don't know
we
what's
don't have,
happening
I
there?
don't have a business, so this is the process. Once you get the site plan, then you go once the building is ready, you need to get a TI to make sure the inside meets
Yeah.
code. So they got a TI, it's all approved and everything. They haven't finalized it yet. And then after that, I need to apply for a business license, and I don't have an application
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
But it
just
says that it's opening soon, so.
wondering. Yeah.
We know the business license process is pretty quick, so
Yeah.
that could happen in a week and a half, something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm excited about that place too. Take some time.
Okay, thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sherry. Okay. We like those reports.
Actually, is tonight the Gail Holdman? Gail Holdman, the author? The piece that is you, or something like that? Anyway. She's amazing, and I saw it on the library sign. Anyway,
That's what Diana knew about it.
You actually read the library sign?
yes, because I was stopped so long at that light. I was trying to catch air. Oh, tomorrow night. Okay, good.
Okay.
You obviously didn't read long enough.
didn't-
I was already in flight.
Okay, thank you. And Denise, do you have anything else for us tonight? Kathy? Tina?
In our retreat, it was requested that we resolve the road fee issue, and so in my constant attempts to be speedy in responding to your requests, the Utah Supreme Court has actually scheduled our oral arguments for March 14th at 10 o'clock in the morning. I sent you an email.
Yeah.
But I thought I would
Very good.
just,
So can we go in person?
yeah, you can watch.
Where's it at?
Up in Salt Lake at the
Math-
Supreme Court Chamber.
I mean,
At the
can we,
Capitol
like, we're
building?
holding signs, heck, no, we won't go, kind of like outside.
Sure, you can do
It's-
that if you
I'm
want.
gonna get the Canadian truckers to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
so-
is it in the Capitol building or in the Matheson?
Oh,
You know what? They don't go in this, they are not in the Capitol building.
okay, then it's at the Matheson. I'll double check the
It's
notice.
Matheson across from the Salt Lake County, Old
And-
County building.
And so what does that entail?
It'll just be oral arguments. So our attorney will stand up and make his arguments. The justices may have questions for him. The other attorney will stand up and make their arguments. The justice may have questions for them. They'll take it under advisement and then issue a written ruling later. So we won't know anything that day,
Right.
but
So what's the time frame after that? Any idea?
I have no idea, I'm sorry.
I'm actually very surprised that this is happening,
So
Yeah,
soon?
that there's a date.
yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't happen a little sooner than what it did. I mean, eventually we were gonna get a date.
I
And
had lost all hope
Well, the court
for a date,
Yeah, they've been backed up,
yes.
so we'll see.
Me too.
If I get any other information, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Kyler? Thank you. Well, council, if you have any other questions for the directors or other staff, I would ask for a motion to adjourn, and then we'll reconvene at 6 o'clock. Yes.
If we have a few minutes, we can go over tonight's agenda.
Okay.
Daniel was asking.
All right, that'll work. Let's go.
We have, Daniel, you wanna come present your item? Oh, next week? Are you prepared to talk about tonight's items? You wanna come on up?
We got a few minutes here.
We're
Daniel, what we can get
Sorry,
done now
just so we're
means we'll be
clear,
out of here quicker
Just so
later
we're-
on.
We're clear. When we do have time in work session, we can review the agenda, give you all the information. So when we get in our open session, we can kind of cut through that part, so.
So, recently, we just approved a electric car dealership, and now we're gonna talk about the parcel in the back. The parcel, you guys remember how we created first the plat? And now we're talking about the parcel in the back. We rezoned that parcel too a couple of months ago to allow for some type of light manufacturing in the Grove Zone. So what we have today is the two flex space buildings, and flex space stands for flexible space. I mean, they can be used, most of them have a small office in the front and then some storage in the back, even some manufacturing in the back. So
Is that like what we have on 700 South?
in front of, yes,
Okay.
similar to that, yes. The only difference is that right there, what we have in front of the Public Works Department and on 700, all those new buildings they're having on 700, they can, in some of them, they can manufacture raw materials. And in this one, it's a little less intense. So in this one, they cannot bring, for example, just leather and make belts out of it. So it's different uses, but there's certain manufactured uses permitted. Similar to the overlay that we have to do for the Terra, so they could have their oils and they have their peels and stuff like that. So what the applicant is proposing today is the approval of a site plan. And it's the two buildings that are in that newly created zone. Pretty standard square buildings. We'll take a look at them. So that's one item. And the second item is just the building that is on North County Boulevard going toward the hospital. We have a new dentist building, is the building next to it. And what they're doing, they're condominiumize the buildings, meaning that they already went ahead and built the shell, and then they went with the TI, so they have different offices, and they want to create new parcels for each one of those offices, so they can even sell them, rent them, or go ahead and just create a condominium plat for it. And those are my two items. They're pretty simple, if I might say that.
Any other questions for Daniel?
Nope.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mayor.
all right. Dion, do you want to tell us about your items here?
So we finally received our one-ton dump truck, snow plow, and salt box that we ordered last March. I think it was March, somewhere around there. It's been a while, and so this old one-ton dump truck we're surplusing, it's just had it. So in the Olay sweeper, I think it's probably a 1980. The company's no longer in existence. We can't buy parts for it. They don't make parts, so it doesn't run, so we just need to get rid of it. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So, Tina, do you want to talk about our
Yes.
changing our boundaries or our maps?
So if you'll recall, about a month ago, maybe, December meeting, we had you approve a voter participation map, which is required by the state statute. The county had not provided us an updated map that included the updated population numbers from the census. And so we had to adopt the existing map in order to meet the deadline. Now we have the new population counts from the census, and so the map needs to be readopted with the new numbers on it. There isn't any really big changes. It's just, we're just trying to be compliant with state statute.
Any questions for council?
That's great.
Oh, thank you. With that, Scott, we'll hold off on yours still.
Yeah, mine is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I do have a couple calendar things.
Okay.
So just as far as our Public Works Director position, it closes tomorrow. On Thursday, we will screen the applications with the intention of having our first round of interviews on March 24th, which is Thursday next week.
February,
Sorry, February 24th.
Whoa.
Thank you. March 24th, way too long. The intent then would be March 1st, which would be our next meeting, that we would actually hold those interviews. Now, we will have a meeting. We do have agenda items for March 1st. So if we do this, and part of this depends on how many we're going to interview after the first round, we would likely do it that evening. So that would probably be starting at 7 and doing 2, 3, or 4 interviews, depending on how many we settle on. That's one way to do it. If everybody, that will be a long night, but we can do it then. Or if you would like, we could do those interviews on a standalone night, maybe March 8th, the next Tuesday, if the council would prefer, and not have a meeting and do the interviews the same night. So whatever direction you want to go, we'll head that direction, but that's looking for feedback on.
Could,
Okay.
Scott,
You want to do it after council and?
well, could we do it both before and after? Break it up?
Before,
Yeah.
meaning like
Work
at 3
session.
o'clock?
Yeah, before, like, make your work session earlier or something, or just
Do it
get
that
at
like
least
that
2 or
idea.
3 in before, then have your normal, and then.
Yeah, if you'd rather do it before the meeting, we could set them up for 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
What do you have planned for the work session?
The work session, we have the PG players coming,
Oh, that's right.
and then we have a discussion on our design guidelines for the interchange zone.
Okay.
Give us a
I
break.
think I'd rather do them after, just for my work day. But I could be flexible. Do 2 before, or 1 before, 2 after.
Sometimes it's hard to split those up, just
Yeah,
because you
because
get.
the mood of it, you're right.
Yeah, but.
The flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd prefer we do all of them right in a row.
Okay.
So if that's okay, we'll do them Tuesday night. We'll do
Okay.
them starting at 7, so that means we'll kind of have a hard stop when it comes to our council meeting.
Well, we could, have we taken all of the agenda items and noticed them at this point? Can we?
Well, I don't
Spread
know if
that
we
out.
have any public hearings. Do you know of any public hearings?
Doesn't, it's hard to say, but it doesn't
Oh,
seem,
that's right.
doesn't seem to be very full.
Okay, so we have 2 public hearings scheduled for March 1st, so.
Yeah, maybe we just do it afterwards. Keep, you know, that way we can keep our work schedules
So do it.
working. So like,
Depend, if our agenda stays relatively light, like
That's-
tonight,
yeah.
we could be done by 7,
right,
and then we could do the interviews at 7.
that'd be fine.
I'm already looking at one of these public hearings and it's a yes, so let's go.
Easy.
I know.
Okay, so we'll count on that. We'll
Okay.
plan on doing them. The other thing is, in the month of March, there's 5 Tuesdays in March. And we did this last year, and I'm proposing we do it again this year. And that is, we have a meeting on the 1st, the 15th, and then meet again on the 29th. Because in April, with spring break and the league conference, we'll just have one meeting in April, which would be I think it's the 12th, whatever the second Tuesday is in April.
Yes.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Because if we don't meet the 29th, we could have 4 weeks between meetings, and that
Let's
tends
not
to
do
get a little bit,
Yeah.
particularly if we have people that need approvals for planning purposes. So
Yes.
we'll send out an email just kind of reminding you of that, but that would be the course that we'll take. And then in May, we'll get back to our 1st and 3rd Tuesday.
Okay, we'll plan on that then, council?
Yep.
Okay,
That's all I've got, Mayor.
all right, thank you. That, ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second? All in